All right, Friday. Shoulders today. Might even squeeze in a little bit of calves at the end. If you did legs yesterday like I did, then we are going to loosen up a little bit here. Normally, upper body workouts focus on an upper body warm up, so shoulders. But before we do, let's loosen up the legs. Throw a mat down. A lot of times it takes an extra day before everything starts to really get tight and sore. You used to call that second day soreness. So doing legs yesterday, sometimes you might feel okay the day after, and it's not till that second day that you start to feel it. So it's important to go ahead and loosen up, do some light stretching, especially those glutes and hamstrings. When they get tight, they have a tendency to pull on the back of your pelvis and causes discomfort in the low back. So I want to avoid that if we can. Very stiff. All right, we're going to just do some light body weight squats just to move. We'll get 12 of these. Just want to warm up those muscles before we go in there and start trying to stretch them. You don't want to stretch cold. Do one more. All right, quad stretch. Oh man, it's been a crazy week on my side. It's actually one of the things I like about working out is it's that opportunity just to set all that aside for a second, shift gears, just put all your focus into your training. If you're feeling frustrated or whatever you're feeling, you can redirect that into your workout. And I've found that it's not only a good stress relief, but working out is that one constant for me that when everything else may be all over the board, crazy highs, lows, whatever's going on, it's that one constant. It's kind of like that thread throughout my life. The one thing that I know that I have some control over. Especially when so many things that we don't have control over. It's also why I think that it's really easy for us to get down on ourselves when we don't do it, right? If we know it's that one thing that we have control over, it's one thing that we can do for ourselves that is positive, it's constructive, and then when we don't do it, it's easy to feel disappointed in yourself. Oh, man. All right, we're going to drop down to the mat here. 1 foot forward. And notice the hip. I'm going to come forward here, torso upright. You want to feel that right here. Good, other side. couple more, real quick. It's worth taking the time. It only takes a couple minutes. So we're gonna do a glute stretch. So ankle right over your other knee, reach through. We're just gonna gently pull back, so you should feel that right here in the glutes. All right, switch. All right, bring those knees to your chest. And then the hamstring stretch. Other side. Oh. All right, then on our feet, we are going to do a very light calf stretch. Can do it up against a wall. Just going to go ahead and tuck that heel close, and then just lean into it just a little bit, keeping that leg straight. Now, I used to be really terrible about warm-ups and stretches. Now I actually use it as an opportunity to start shifting gears, get my mind set right for the workout. So it's not just a warm-up for the body, it's a warm-up up here as well. Yeah, the reality is with your workouts, it's not so much about all these different techniques, different exercises. It's just doing the work. So that means you've got to get your head right to go in there and push yourself, make yourself uncomfortable. So you have to learn how to flip the switch a little bit. If you go in there with a half-hearted attitude, well, then you're going to have a half-ass workout. All right, now that we loosened up lower body, let's get ready for shoulders. So obviously we want to warm up the shoulders. First thing is our arm circles, nice and controlled, going to the front. There's 8, let's do 4 more. Go backwards. If this is your first time watching one of these videos, if you haven't figured it out already, these are not some sort of quick cut, curated videos. These are full length, uncut, beginning to end, warm up all the way to cool down, every single set, every single rep. So this is not a how-to video. This is more like a follow along if you want to. Put your headphones in. Let's get our workout in. I'm just going to stretch out the quad again real quick. Still a little tight. All right. Since today is going to be dumbbells in combination with bands, we'll grab all our bands anyway, but I'm going to use one of them. Warm up rotator cuff. So we're just going to double it up here. Palms facing each other, elbows tucked in, and then just resist with the opposite hand. One side pulls, one side resists. We're working internal and external rotation at the same time. both arms. This is a quick way to knock it out. Let's do 6 more each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're only supposed to do 6 more. There you go. You got an extra. A bonus. All right. Grab an even lighter band here. Another movement for the rotator cuff. Bring those elbows up to shoulder height. Let me turn towards you so you can see. 90 degrees at the elbow there. And we're going to rotate backwards. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is more than just a warm-up. 5. We're strengthening and conditioning those smaller muscles in the rotator cuff. 7. Want to bulletproof our shoulders here. Nobody likes shoulder pain. Let's do 3 more. One more. All right, last one. I'm going to do a pull apart here with the band. Up high, out in front of our face. You can see hands are a little bit narrower than shoulder width. We're going to keep the arms straight, and I want you to think about pulling out towards the sides. Don't think about pulling back. Out to the sides. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see this. So out, everything in line, come back in. There's 6. I'm going to do 6 more. 2, 3, 4, 5. We're actually going to do 1 more. Let's call this half warm up, half exercise. We're going to do a side raise or a lateral raise. But let's do this with the extra light band. Anchored under one foot, step on it with the other. If you want less resistance, we can put our feet closer together, makes the band a little more slack. If you want more resistance, you can widen your foot position. We're just going to come straight out to the side, right about ear height. Back down, nice and controlled. So this is working the middle delts, but also one of the muscles in the rotator cuff as well. So I said it's kind of dual purpose. We'll use this to set the stage for the shoulder workout. There's 8. I'm going to do 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other side. Make sure to control that rep tempo just like we will be doing in the workout. It's one way that we kick up the intensity, slowing down that tempo. More time under tension. So even though this is a warm-up, you should still feel those muscles firing up. 6, 7, 8, 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Loosen them up. You can even bring the arm across. Other side. Even a very light stretch in the chest. We should be good to go. So if you haven't downloaded the PDF already, the link is down in the description. You can download the full PDF, everything that I'm looking at right here. So our first exercise is a dumbbell shoulder press. We're gonna do what we did yesterday with one of the exercises where I'm gonna show you basically 3 options here. We're gonna do the first set with bands only. We're gonna come and do our second set with dumbbells only. And then third set, we're gonna combine them. So, little BC boys. Let's see how this feels. All right, anchor the band under your feet, shoulder width apart. Same concept as before though. If you want to lessen the resistance, you can always narrow your foot position. So let's drop down under it. Here's our starting position. Now I want you to press straight up and even think about maybe going out to the sides a little. And we're going to bring the same technique into our dumbbells. So it's going to look like this. So you see I'm going out to the sides just a little bit. Let me turn towards you. So instead of this, look at this next rep. Out, just a little bit. That's 6. Control that rep speed. Control the eccentric or negative, and a controlled concentric push. I think that's 10. Feels like it. Let's do 2 more. One more. Nice. So by going out just a little bit, doing 2 things. One, the tension with the band, you feel a really strong contraction in the deltoids, but it's also helping us minimize the triceps a little bit. If we come really narrow like this, look how much movement is there at the elbow. When you have a lot of movement at the elbow, that means you're using a lot of triceps. So by starting a little wider and pressing out, we have a little less movement at the triceps and we can make the shoulders work just a little bit harder. All right, light stretch, 90 seconds rest, and we're gonna grab some dumbbells here. And we're gonna do the same exact movement, trying to decide how much weight to use. I'm gonna be cautious here. Been dealing with a nagging injury in my shoulder, so I don't wanna overdo it. So we're gonna push ourselves. We're gonna make this a hard workout, but you don't just have to sling heavy weight to do that. We can be more cautious with the resistance we use, and we're going to make our muscles work harder by controlling that rep speed, and 2, by actively contracting those muscles. So try this right now without even picking up any weights. Just move your arms up and down, okay? That's how a lot of people work out. They're just thinking about pressing it. Now I want you to think about making those muscles work, making them fire all the way through that movement. I don't even need any resistance here to make those muscles start to work. That's what we want to do with every single rep. Make every rep as hard as you can. Don't just rely on the resistance to create the contraction. That's where this mind-muscle connection comes in. Okay. I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know what to grab here. We'll put my ego away. All right. Now, one thing that I've learned to avoid through the years is slinging dumbbells to get them in position. So I actually use my knee to kick it up. That way I'm not having to put my shoulder in some sort of awkward position. Now, as far as position, we don't have to come to this extreme like this. You can find a more neutral position like this, so it's about 45 degrees. And we're going to do the exact same thing we did with the bands. Press straight up. Control that rep speed. 5, 6, halfway. 7, 8. There's only 9. I want to get 3 more, so I'm going to shake this off just for a sec. You notice going wide like that's a whole lot harder than coming in here and pressing to the center. All right, I want 3 more. There it is. How you pick up dumbbells and how you set them down has a lot to do with whether you keep those shoulders healthy or not. Even same thing with your back. You know, when it's on the ground, it's so tempting to just reach down and pick that up, as opposed to just dropping your butt down and picking it up with your legs. All right, grab some water. We're gonna do our 3rd set, which is gonna be the hardest. So, we're gonna go light with the band. We don't need to go heavy. And lighter with the dumbbell. All right. So first, let's unrack these. Set them on the ground. So we want about shoulder width apart. So I set them on the ground first, and then I'll drape the band over, get in position. And then I usually put it between my middle finger and my ring finger, just like that. But you can do whatever is comfortable. Actually, that is uncomfortable, to be honest with you. Let me try it without, whatever. Nope. Okay. That's a live workout for you, trial and error. I think what I'm going to do is just hold it with my thumb like that. Let's give this a try. There it is. Sometimes it's trial and error. Here we go. Oh man. That's 6. Oh, that's gonna be tough. That was only 7. Okay. Sit down for a sec. Shake it out. Do a walkabout if you have to. All right. See what we can get here. That's 9. 10. Let's get one more. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. All right. Grab a drink of water. Stretch it out. So that was exercise number 1. So we're going to do our third exercise same way. So it's lateral raises. In the PDF, I say band only. So we'll start with band only, which is what we did last week. Then we'll do the same thing with dumbbells. I'll show you how the technique translates. And then same thing, combination band and dumbbell. Grab a fairly light resistance band. So I use this extra light for my warm-up. So let's try the light band. Oh, I'm already feeling my delts, so it's gonna burn. Just forewarning you. Gotta power through it. All right. So just like our warm-up, same exact technique. I want you to think about coming right to about ear height. Anything above that is not really necessary because this is full range of motion for that middle deltoid. Full range of motion for the joint is all the way up here, but we're recruiting other muscles like our trapezius. So we're trying to target middle delt here. So that's why I personally limit the range of motion. Plus, you're susceptible to an impingement in your shoulder when you start going higher than this. So everything I do is all about maximizing the stimulus in the muscle, but trying to minimize injury. Here we go. Two. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Got 4 more. 1. 2. 3. Oh man, that's 12. You know what song's coming. Cali? All right, here we go. Three, 4, 5, 6, halfway. Let's go. 7, 8, 9, 3 more. 1, 2, last one. Oh, nice. Oh, shake it out. That's where it's going to get harder. Actually, the second set's not bad. I actually personally think that dumbbell lateral raises are easier than bands. And the reason is with bands, we have tension all the way through that range of motion, especially from here to here. When we pick up dumbbells, from here to here, there really isn't much. It's just like we're kind of swinging. Plus, it's really easy to cheat. Because of this right here, we can get a lot of momentum. So we want to be disciplined, and that's where the form is going to translate. We want to make sure that we are starting this nice and slow and controlled, so we're not using momentum. Come up to the top. Control it on the way down. And that's going to make it a whole lot harder. No momentum, no cheating, just good, strong contractions. Oh. 8. 9. 10. 1 more. Now, just because we're using lightweight doesn't mean that it's some sort of pussy workout. Like I saw this post the other day, it was comparing the way it used to be, and it showed like Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman with big heavy dumbbells swinging these things up. And then it showed some guy on a cable machine who's like not even breaking a sweat. So I do agree to a certain point. The way I came up training in the 90s, it was all about intensity. It was all about hard work and consistency and discipline, and there was less focus on technique. Now it's kind of like the pendulum is swung to the other side, and it's all about technique, and I don't see as much intensity as you should. But that doesn't mean that training with light weights is easy. If you do it the right way, again, no cheating, no swinging, controlling that time under tension, and actively contracting those muscles with every single rep, it makes a lightweight super heavy, and it makes it hard. So this isn't some sort of like, whatever, lightweight, easy workout. It should be hard. Make it hard. You don't need heavy weight to make it hard. Speaking of hard, third set. So I'm going to use this lighter band. Before I do, real quick, a little technique. It's kind of like an old school one. Talked about how there's really no resistance right here. So one that we used to do was lay down sideways on an incline bench and do single arms. And that way, from the beginning of the range of motion, now we're fighting gravity and you have resistance. So there are ways to do that, you know, more tension throughout the range of motion with dumbbells. With bands, though, we're not using gravity, right? The resistance comes from the band itself, so we don't have to worry about that. So the combination of the two is actually very nice. Well, that's where I'm stuck in between weights here. These are too small, but same thing. Anchor under 1 foot. As far as hand position, you'll hear people say, you know, pretend you're pouring out a cup of water. I see people doing the opposite, their thumbs up. I see all sorts of different hand positions. My best advice is go with whatever feels natural. We want to stick to a more natural range of motion, more neutral hand position. That way we can help prevent different impingements. All these little weird techniques to try to get a better contraction aren't worth it if it's causing aggravation. So you'll see for me at the top, it's pretty neutral hand position, nothing fancy. We don't need fancy, we just need to work hard. So my goal here is 10. 5. There's 6. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch it out, do 6 on the other side, and come back. That's 4. 5. I'm actually pretty happy I'm able to do these. Haven't been able to do them for like 6 months. My shoulder's been so aggravated. Here we go. At least 4 more. 1, 2. 3. 1 more. That was an ugly rep, but that's okay. We got there. It's honestly one of the best rock songs ever. At least to hype you up. If you're in the car, it makes you want to do like 140. 2. 3. 1 more. Same thing. That last one was ugly. It's all right. We got it in. All right, we're moving on to shrugs. So Some people train traps on back day, some people train them on shoulder day, but you have to remember that the traps or the trapezius is a trapezoid shaped muscle, and it has a lot of different functions. One is to elevate our shoulders. One of the others is to pull our shoulder blades back. So technically, we really are training traps on both shoulder day and back day. So I like to leave middle lower traps for my back day with any of those rowing movements. And I like to train upper traps on shoulder day with our shrugs. So we're gonna do dumbbells only. Now I used to do ridiculously heavy dumbbells, as heavy as I could find. And I just found that it was counterproductive. So we're gonna use a more moderate weight. We're gonna use control. And again, actively contracting that muscle, getting good mind-muscle connection. All right. So nice and controlled. Bring those shoulders up high, a little hold. Control that eccentric. Controlled concentric. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Think about keeping those shoulders back. 7. 8. 9. 2 more. 1 more. So I'm saying keep the shoulders back, meaning don't let them round forward. I see a lot of people doing their shrugs like this. If I stay more upright, bring those shoulders back. For me, I get a much stronger contraction in the traps. And as far as using more moderate weight, it's keeping us from doing this kind of stuff right here. Like I used to get terrible, almost like a migraine, because the trapezius and the connective tissue would get so irritated, it would get tight and start to pull down on the base of my skull. So I get these nasty headaches every time I did traps. So that just wasn't worth it. Plus the heavy weight wasn't really working anyway. So learned that I can get a really strong contraction and a good workout by using more control. If you were to say like, hey, what's one central theme of all of my training? It's control. Controlling the weight, not letting the weight control you. When I was younger, I used to say, make the weight your bitch. Okay. We get a light stretch here. Go ahead and bring that ear close to your shoulder, leaning away from your hand. You can probably grab onto anything. Like I'd come over here, grab the dumbbell rack. All right, let's do this. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 6 more. 1. 2, 3, 5, 6. Some people have questions about using any kind of strap. I personally don't have an issue with them. You know, some people think, oh, if you use them, your grip's going to be weak. It's a way to strengthen your grip, but I disagree with that. Most of us have a tendency with weight training to over grip everything. I mean, think about it. We're grabbing dumbbells, we're grabbing bars, whether it's a pull down or it's a cable machine, dumbbells, everything is grabbing all the time. And a lot of times the tendonitis that people get in their elbow is from over gripping. Same thing with golfers and tennis. It all comes down to this. And so you end up what's called an overuse injury. So sometimes the straps actually give your grip a break. And I would also say that if your hand's giving out before the muscle that you're targeting, like if you're doing pull downs and you feel it more in your forearm and you feel like your fingers are going to explode, well, then that's a good opportunity to use straps. Me personally, this isn't heavy enough where I feel like I need to, but a little trick that I do for locking my hand, it's a simple one, but I just lock my thumb right over the top of my index finger. And that helps me get a little bit stronger grip. All right, let's go. Last set of these. So you can see right here. Get that little pause at the top. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 more, 10, 11, 1 more, 12. So I actually had really bad tendonitis in my elbow one year. I was actually getting ready to go compete in Columbus, Ohio at the Arnold. And it was so bad, I couldn't even lift my toothbrush up to brush my teeth. So I went to this fancy doctor. She works with all these elite athletes. She's a travel doctor. Very, very good at what she does. And that's where she was explaining to me this issue, this overuse injury issue, especially with people who not only do any kind of weight training, but then they'll go play sports. It's even worse. Even something as simple as like pickleball, which is popular right now. So her suggestion was to use straps more. So anyone who tells you that you shouldn't ever use lifting straps, I totally disagree. Should you use them for everything? No. But there's times where it's appropriate. And I would say the time where it's appropriate is where, you know, you're putting a lot of stress on the hands. Like say, for example, I'm not into deadlifts anymore, but if you're doing any kind of deadlifting, yeah, that's a lot of weight that you're trying to hold on to with your hands, and all those muscles and all that connective tissue is screaming. So don't think that you're just sitting there making your grip stronger by doing that. If you want to strengthen your grip, then do exercises specific to strengthening your grip. All right, I think we've got a front raise here. Let's see. Yes, we do. So these are with a band. This is what we did last week. Do the same thing we did last week and modify it a little bit. So if we do front raises, this is primarily anterior deltoid, or the front of the shoulder. What we're going to do is a front raise, and then we're going to do a pull apart, and that pull apart is going to target more of the rear delt. So this is a front to back exercise. This is a great way to finish off shoulders here. So anchoring that band under our feet. Grabbing it a little narrower than shoulder width. If you want to create more tension, you can go wider with your feet. So phase one of the movement, right about to nose height, and then we pull apart out to the sides. Don't think about pulling those hands back. Think about pulling them out. It's 2. 3. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what it looks like. 4. 5. You want to try to stabilize your shoulder blades. You don't want a bunch of movement in the shoulder blade here. 8. 9. 3 more. That's 1. 2. 1 more. Shock G just died, didn't he? Last year? Yeah. A little longer. Was it? I lose track of time. I have no concept of time, actually. Everything to me seems like a blur. All right, that felt good. Loosen it up. We're going to go at it again. Before we do, if we were to bring this into dumbbells, which we're going to next week. So this week has all been resistance bands in combination with dumbbells. Now we're going to start transitioning to more dumbbell work. But if we were going to do front raises here, just like our side raises, you don't want to use momentum here in the beginning. So same thing, initiate it nice and controlled. Come right up here, kind of like nose height, and then control it on the way back down. And as far as the rear delts, when I see people say on a pec deck doing flies, when you see a bunch of movement at the shoulder blade there and they're doing this, you're not really targeting the rear delts very well because you're using a lot of that middle trapezius, and that's a much bigger, stronger muscle. So it has a tendency to take over. So that's why I say don't think about pulling backwards. We want to stabilize our shoulder blades as much as possible, and that way we're taking the trapezius out of it just a little bit, and think about going out to the sides. That's a little mind muscle trick or a visualization to help you focus more just on those rear delts. I'll show you after this one a little trick for getting better at that, because it takes a little bit of practice sometimes. All right, here we go. Same thing. Nice and controlled. Control that rep speed. That's 2. 3. 4. 6. Halfway. Shake it out. 7. 8. 9. Haven't heard Busta Rhymes in a bit. Let's do one more. Oh man, squeeze mine and grab a drink of water. Was that 3? That's 3. Or was that just wishful thinking? That was wishful thinking? Ah. All right. So we got one more of these. Oh, I was going to show you a trick. Let me come over here against the wall. So put your back flat against the wall. You can kind of lean into it a little bit. So this is more of a tactile thing, so you can feel whether your shoulder blades are moving or not. So with your back against the wall, squeeze your shoulder blades together. You see how it kind of pushes you off the wall a bit. So that's when you're really engaging those traps. So we don't want to feel that when we're doing our rear flies for rear delts. So let me move Bones out of the way here. Sorry, buddy. So if you come out to the sides, you notice that your scapular or your shoulder blade doesn't move much. Now put a little bend in your arm and think about squeezing those shoulder blades together, and it feels totally different. So just those little cues like that can help you zero in on some of these exercises. All right, last set. This will be our last one for shoulders. We'll do some quick calves. All right, here we go. That's 3. 4. 5. 6. I'll tell you one problem with these live workouts. I've had to take a piss this entire workout. But I'm not going to leave you hanging. That was 8. 4 more. So if I piss my pants, it's all your fault. 1. 2. 3. 1 more. Yeah. Nice. All right, for calf raises, put these bands away. We want to find something to elevate our toe. It doesn't have to be a lot, but we do want to maximize the range of motion. You could do them flat on the floor if you wanted to, but even something like this, it's only maybe 2 inches high. Even this will make a difference, gives us a little bit more range of motion. We don't have to elevate it crazy high. I see people where they're really getting this exaggerated stretch. When you do that under weight, really easy to damage your Achilles tendon there. So you want to be careful with that, especially when I see people using a lot of weight, crazy range of motion, and then bouncing at the bottom. That's even worse. You can get away with it for a long time. That connective tissue is very strong, but as you age, it starts to weaken. And I know a lot of people that end up tearing their Achilles tendon, and that's a long recovery. That's a couple months in a boot after the surgery. All right, here we go. Glue them right here. So elevate that toe, put your other leg behind, drop that heel a little, and then we're gonna come all the way up. Get a nice squeeze at the top, control it on the way down. Smooth transition, no bounce at the bottom. Again, all about control. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Now I said in past workouts that, these are not how-to videos, not even trying to coach anybody, more just sharing what I do, why I do it. As if you were here training with me right now, it's the same stuff I would say. So are there other ways to do it? Absolutely. I mean, you just go out there on social media, you'll hear 1,001 opinions. It doesn't mean they're all right, and it doesn't mean they're all wrong. There's just different ways to do it. My focus, though, is how do I get the best result, get a hard workout, really stimulate the muscle to increase strength, build muscle, while minimizing risk of injury. That's my priority. Now, if you're 22 years old, you're not worried about injury, so your focus is going to be different, just like mine was at 22. But I'm also 30 years down the road from that, paying the price for all the stupid shit that I did when I was 22. I always say that the challenge is that the consequences of our actions, they're deferred so much later in life that we don't directly connect our actions with those consequences. The example I use is if your dog peed on the rug and you waited 2 days to take your dog over there and scold him for peeing on the rug, your dog would have no idea what you're talking about. There's no connection between I just peed on the rug, now I'm in trouble. But if you catch them in the act, there is that direct association of what they did wrong, right? Well, with training, what we do wrong in our 20s, maybe even into our 30s, we don't pay the price until later on, 40s and 50s, so there's a big disconnect. So all through our 20s and all through our 30s, we think we get away with it, and we keep doing it. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10. Other side. I think I was in 9th grade when the song came out. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Ha 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 ha. Now I hear all kinds of crazy ideas about calves. People say, well, you walk on them all day long, so you need to do higher reps in order to stimulate them. I'll hear other people say you have to use a crazy amount of weight. Any muscle, if you go in and you work it hard, you feel it burning, you hit that momentary failure like that last one, that was it. That's all I could do. Why? It's not because I weigh so much, because I'm using so much resistance. It's because I'm actively contracting that muscle, using my mind every single rep to make everyone as hard as I can. Anyone who's ever done a bodybuilding show and gone up on stage and sat there and posed will tell you how sore they are the next day after that. That's from squeezing the muscle. So think about squeezing that muscle every rep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6. 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's a challenge. Pick whatever exercise you want. Use whatever resistance level you normally use. Try that same resistance level, slowing down your rep speed just a little bit, more time under tension, and think about squeezing every single rep. I guarantee you, you won't be able to do as many reps as you normally do. Six more. 1. Oh man. 3. On fire. 4. 5. 1 more. Ay. I was telling someone the other day, going back and forth in a comment, just about how much information there is out there. It's like everyone's out there trying to make a name for themselves in the fitness industry, and I feel like the fitness industry has a low barrier of entry to look like an expert, right? All you have to do is kind of look the part, and people will believe you're an expert and that you know what you're talking about. And I was saying that I would hate to be out there trying to figure out things right now. Like if I were a beginner, or, maybe even if I was intermediate and trying to find more advanced techniques, because everything out there is all in conflict with one another. Do this, no, do that, no, don't do this, never do that. It's like, what do you believe? So I think you got a lot of people who are kind of suffering from paralysis from overanalysis. And that's why my philosophy is really simple, which is I don't believe there really is a right way or a better way. The better way for me is, how do I do this without hurting myself, without aggravating injuries? That's the better way for me. But outside of that, the best way is to go in and just work hard, do it consistently, be disciplined, do that over a period of time, and you'll get results. That's the best way. So, you know, if you're wondering, what about this technique? This guy says this guy says, who fucking cares? Like, at some point, you're just gonna have to just go in and do it. And probably the best advice that someone gave me with training, and same thing applies to nutrition, is you can't listen to everybody. Like, pick one plan and stick to it. Otherwise, you're gonna hop from this to this to this, always thinking the grass is greener. Oh, maybe that's gonna work better. Maybe that's gonna work better. No, pick something, stick to it, work hard, do it consistently. So that's a wrap for today. This is the end of phase 3. Week 1, phase 1 was body weight only. Week 2 was resistance bands only. This was week 3 or phase 3, which was bands in combination with dumbbells. So we're gonna move next week. We're gonna move more towards dumbbell work. And we're gonna try to step up the intensity, and that's the whole goal with this program. Over the remaining, let's see, what do we have left? I guess we have 3 more phases left. Is to keep bumping up the intensity here and get to more of an advanced routine. So make sure you download the PDF if you haven't already. Link is in the description. Tomorrow's workout, Saturday, is a full body workout, kind of more moderate intensity. I want you to get in there, want you to move. It's gonna help with recovery as well. You can also burn some more calories in the process. And then I will see you on Monday, where we pick back up. Day 1 is going to be chest and triceps, so I'll see you then.